I had a special connection with my Aunt Lee. From the time I was just a little girl, I recognized that she was special. I recognized that she saw the positive in everything. My Aunt Lee was the kind of person that I feel like she lived in the moment, and she was present before it was cool, before you really heard people talking about that, you know? I mean, she enjoyed everything. She lived life to its fullest. She wore a ring when I was little. She wore a ring, and I remember her cutting my hair, and the sound that the ring would make as she cut, the shears would clink onto her ring. And she wore this ring forever. And actually, my uncle and my cousin just gave me the ring, and it's just, I mean, it's a very unique ring, but it is so just my Aunt Lee. She was a unique person. She found beauty in everything, and she always had some kind of a neat little piece of jewelry, or she had a really neat kind of funky style about herself. You know, she had cool shoes, or you know, a blingy top, or you know, something like that. So it was just really special to have this ring. But I remember as a kid that clink, clink, clink as she was cutting my hair, and that's probably my special little childhood memory. You don't really know hospice until it touches your life. I mean, I can tell anyone what I knew about hospice, but everything that it was completely different. My initial impression of hospice, you know, basically, oh, let's keep her comfortable while she's dying, but really it was totally different from that. It was like the hospice nurse came in to do the intake. Kim came in, and she was like, well, let's get her, you know, she's got a lot of living to do, you know? And it was like, yeah, you're damn straight she does. You know, I mean, it was like, yes, she does. And my aunt was totally on board. Like, yes, you're right. And I have some things that I want to do, and I have some living to do. It wasn't I always associated hospice with dying. And unfortunately, we know that's the hard reality, but I never associated it with living. My Aunt Lee had a great relationship with all of her caretakers. She had this relationship that coming into hospice, she wanted to still be Lee. And I know that sounds funny, because of course she's still Lee, you know, but in her experience through her medical care, she was always Lee with all of her treatment. And then there comes a point when you start to feel like cancer, and it takes away a little bit of your person and who you are. And my Aunt Lee was always in control of everything before she was sick, and then when she got sick, she still was. And it was like she still wanted to be Lee, and she still wanted to have choices. And I think there was always that fear that she would have that taken away from her. And oh gosh, I mean, the team of caregivers for Brighton is what really made my aunt's experience with dying as best as it could have been. I feel like, you know, they treated her like Lee. They didn't treat her like her diagnosis. And it was always upbeat. You know, I mean, it's like we laughed. I mean, we laughed, and I know it sounds funny, like you don't want to say, oh, you should have heard me today with the hospice nurse. I mean, but they're real people, and they have real lives, and they interact with you, and you have your real life and your family, and you're all trying to get through this. But I feel like then you've got your hospice nurses who are, and your caregivers, and the gal who would come to help bathe her and give her a massage. And I mean, these caregivers are real people. And my aunt, again, there was that word again, she would say, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed that I have the opportunity to be taken care of by such wonderful people. I mean, I can't imagine, I really can't imagine what this experience would have been had we not had Brighton. That's why I get choked up thinking about what I want them to know, because the Brighton staff meant everything to my family. When this was going on, you've got dark days, you've got really dark days, and I feel like they came in with a personality that suited our personality. And they embraced my aunt, they embraced her being able to make decisions, and they embraced what she wanted and what we wanted. And they were real people. And it means everything to have that personal connection with other people. I mean, as a caregiver, it can be a very robotic thing, but it doesn't have to be. And I just feel like we were dealing with real people who happened to be caregivers. And it really allowed her to live her final days with dignity, always with the utmost respect, and really felt like, in all sincerity, we felt loved by the Brighton team. And it meant a lot to our family to know that we weren't alone, and that she felt like Aunt Lee all the way to the end.
My mom, let me tell you a little bit about her. She was an influencer, she was an educator, and she was a mentor to a lot of people. Always spent a lot of time, around the table together and always sharing the day's experiences. And I think that was part of the success of my parents' relationship and also the relationship with the family. My parents both loved to socialize, and as in the elderly years or later years, retirement years, loved to dance. So there were a lot of participations around, them at the dance floor, or them on the dance floor, or family time watching them dance, and then music. And so there's a lot of music in our house. My mom played the piano. I can't remember being home very often in the evenings without some kind of music going on. The facility we're in had several hospice choices, but a couple different things made Brighton come to the service initially. One is we had seen them in action around us at the facility. We had talked to other families who were attended to by Brighton. And it was very simple very early on that the level of happiness and success they were having with those other families was what I should expect for ourselves from Brighton. The team that was on staff there from the location we were in was a great team, but they couldn't provide the level of care, the depth of care, and the knowledge that caring for somebody at the late stage of life really needed. And so we met, I think we met Jackie first, our lead nurse. And these people are saints. They don't give and care and work because they have to or they need to earn that specific wage or living. She was there because she believed in the care and the respect and dignity and integrity that she could deliver to give her patients at the end of life. Carolyn came along shortly thereafter. I think I met her second or third day, and she walked into the room, everything changes. It's not her boastful, big personality or spirit that walks in. It is a person that is sincerely caring, loving, gracious, and giving. The level of professionalism, the level of care, the experience, the attention to detail that Brighton brought to my life brought me, peace, not only before my mom's passing, but afterwards. And, for that, we're eternally grateful. I think about the number of people and the impact that you might have as an organization on people's lives and the position you're in to provide that. I imagine that working at Brighton has to be fulfilling in many ways. I don't know what life might be at some other hospice providers, but it isn't to be taken simply or lightly. It's to be taken with the greatest of respect for the family and the respect of life. And you guys do that really well.
Oh, there's so much to tell about Myrtle. She had so many different traits. She was just a very genuine person. She cared about everybody, and I remember just her smile. She had a wonderful smile, a contagious smile. And she was very active in the town and her church, and she would help anybody that needed it. She worked at the bank, and there were many times that people didn't know how to do their checkbook, and so she'd go over to their house and spend, a couple hours and help them with their checkbook and so forth. So she was always there for people when they needed her. When she was at the assisted or the memory care, they had a piano there, and when I'd go over there, we'd go for a walk, and she'd always have to walk by the piano. She'd always sit down. She'd play a part of a song that we never knew exactly what it was. And so when we got together with her friends after she passed away, we had asked them what the song was, and it ended up being a love song that she remembered my dad by. And so she would play just a small part of that song, but it was something that she remembered up until just a month before she passed away. So it was really beautiful to find out what the name of the song was. It was called Long, Long Ago, and it was just a very beautiful love song. And so she played piano and organ at the church, and played it at home a lot, and it was just, she tried to teach us or to have us take lessons, and we would for about 2-3 months, and then we'd kind of phase out of it. And now I really wish that I would have continued with playing piano, because it was just a part of my mom that was so special. It was really hard to cope with the fact that knowing who my mom was, and then seeing what was happening to her, it broke my heart to just really see how this disease can just turn somebody into a completely different person. Brighton staff was there for me all the way. They did. They called me 2-3 times a week and would just touch bases with me, make sure I was doing okay. There were questions I had, and they were so good about answering those questions for me, and wanting to make sure that I understood exactly what was going on, and the different stages that my mom would be going through. Before I really knew about hospice, I thought it was just somebody that came in, got her set up a certain way, and then the memory care staff just took over and stuff. But they were literally there a lot for my mom, and it just meant so much to have them right there. Like I said, when you're not able to be there and stuff, I think the actual time that she had passed, hospice was right with our entire family, and I didn't expect them to be there, but it was so nice to have them in the room with us, and kind of help us understand what emotions we're going through of what's happening with her. I guess just the fact that they were there, and the little notes that they would leave, I really enjoyed reading them, because there were certain things that they'd say that, would just kind of touch me, as far as, your mom, she gives such good hugs, or, she is so funny, and she is so sweet. And it was all the things that I knew about my mom, but when you hear it from somebody that doesn't know her, it feels good. I love you all. I guess I can't say how much they meant to us. They gave us a lot, and
They helped my mom in ways that we couldn't.